seatbelt off. Take your seatbelt off. Get out. Get out. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
What happens when an ordinary night turns into a life-threatening chase at 100 miles per hour? When a single choice to run from the police leads to disaster, chaos, and near tragedy? Tonight we bring you the gripping true story of a high-speed pursuit across Washington state and Illinois that proves one chilling fact. The road always remembers your choices, and running from the law never ends well. Stay with us until the end, because you won't believe how this chase unfolded. It started as an ordinary shift for officers in Benton County, Washington. The night air was calm, traffic was light, and nothing seemed out of place. But around 11 p.m., multiple 911 calls began flooding dispatch. Drivers reported a reckless minivan swerving wildly across Interstate 82. From a distance, Trooper Charles Adam Henry spotted the vehicle. The van wasn't just swerving, it was straddling both lanes, grinding down on its bare rim and throwing sparks and debris across the roadway. It was clear the driver was out of control. Trooper Henry switched on his emergency lights, signaling the driver to pull over. But instead of stopping, the minivan kept pushing forward, weaving dangerously close to oncoming traffic. Other cars slowed down, giving distance, terrified of what might happen next. "County 30, I've got him," Henry reported. His voice was steady, but the tension was unmistakable. The pursuit had begun. And here's the chilling part. Officers didn't yet know if the driver was simply reckless, impaired, or something far more dangerous. What the officers would soon discover was far worse than anyone expected. The driver wasn't just refusing to stop. He was willing to risk his life, and the lives of everyone around him, to escape. As backup units closed in, dispatch warned that the suspect had already been reported 3 separate times for reckless driving earlier that evening. Now it was clear this wasn't just a careless driver. It was someone who had been a danger on the road for miles. With speeds fluctuating between 60 and 80 miles per hour, the van crossed over the yellow line again and again. Each swerve brought the possibility of a deadly head-on collision. Officers coordinated for spike strips, hoping to disable the vehicle before it was too late. Then, the moment came. As the van barreled down the highway, spike strips shredded what remained of its tires. Sparks erupted. The vehicle lost control and finally veered off the road. But the danger wasn't over. Smoke rose from under the hood. Flames began to flicker. The car was catching fire. Officers rushed forward, weapons drawn for safety, but what they found was shocking. The driver, slumped behind the wheel, made no attempt to flee. He wasn't injured. He was severely intoxicated. So drunk, in fact, that he barely realized the car around him was on fire. "Get him out! Get him out now!" one officer shouted. Working together, they dragged the man to safety just as the flames spread across the engine. The driver stumbled, barely able to stand. And in that moment, one truth became clear. This wasn't just reckless driving. This was driving under the influence, a choice that could have killed dozens of innocent people. But while Washington officers were dealing with one dangerous chase, hundreds of miles away, another pursuit was already underway, one that would escalate even further, pushing officers and the suspect to the very edge. It was just after midnight when police in Illinois picked up reports of another reckless driver. This time, it was Adrian, a man behind the wheel of a speeding car near Sheridan Road. Like the Washington suspect, Adrian ignored flashing lights and sirens, flooring the accelerator instead. Speeds quickly shot past 80 miles per hour. Red lights blurred past. Traffic lights meant nothing. Adrian tore through Keystone and 104th Street, weaving in and out of cars, nearly clipping unsuspecting drivers. Speeds are now 100 miles per hour, the pursuing officer reported, breathless but controlled. Traffic was light. The roads dry, but the danger couldn't be higher. Adrian's car wasn't just fast, it was unpredictable, swerving toward other vehicles as if daring them to crash. Then, in a desperate move, Adrian swerved into a BP gas station parking lot. Officers thought the chase might be over, but Adrian wasn't done. He cut through the lot, barreled across grassy yards, and sped into an open field. It wasn't just a chase anymore. It was chaos. Finally, Adrian abandoned his vehicle and ran. Officers shouted, "Stop! Police!" But Adrian kept going, forcing police to give chase on foot. Moments later, they tackled him near Sharon Road, ending the pursuit once and for all. When Adrian was handcuffed, officers realized the sheer weight of his choices. Not only had he fled police, he had run multiple red lights, driven through private yards, resisted arrest, and endangered countless lives. But here's the most chilling part. Adrian wasn't just reckless. He was facing a list of charges so long, it could change the course of his life forever. Back in Washington, the first suspect was officially charged with driving under the influence and eluding police. The evidence was overwhelming. Eyewitness calls, DashCam footage, and his own intoxicated state. In Illinois, Adrian's charges were even more severe: fleeing and eluding police, hit and run, operating a vehicle without a license, resisting arrest, 4 counts of recklessly endangering safety. Adrian, like all suspects, remains innocent until proven guilty in court. But the facts recorded by officers tell a disturbing story. Both of these men made the same choice: to run. To push the pedal instead of pulling over. And in doing so, they endangered lives, destroyed property, and nearly lost their own. And this raises the question: why do so many suspects run when the outcome is almost always the same? Caught, charged, and facing far worse consequences than if they had simply stopped. These two pursuits, happening states apart, reveal the same dark truth. Fleeing the police never ends well. For some it's alcohol, for others fear, but in the end, it always leads to the flashing lights in the rearview mirror, the spike strips, the crash, the handcuffs. Both the Washington driver and Adrian are reminders of what happens when someone chooses to gamble with their freedom and the lives of everyone around them. For the officers, these nights are etched in memory. Each swerve, each near collision, each moment when a decision could have turned fatal. They don't just enforce the law. They protect every innocent driver sharing the road. Choices made in fear or recklessness can destroy lives in seconds. Stopping may feel hard, but running will cost far more. If this story gripped you, don't forget to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share it with others who need to hear this warning.